If you want to create a commodity, it must have energy and it must be without an issuer. With regard to the regulatory issues, first of all, I think that if you go back and you look at the classes Gensler taught at MIT in 2018, they're all on YouTube, and you can just Google Gensler blockchain and money and you'll see them all. I think he laid out clearly the theory of digital property and digital commodities and digital currency and all the issues. And what he pointed out was there are permissioned blockchains and there are permissionless blockchains. And of course, Satoshi's brilliance was figuring out how to transfer value and or manifest value without a trusted intermediary. And the idea is proof of work. But if you want to create a digital commodity, you have to create something without an issuer. You can't have a small group of people to control the protocol, because a group of people controlling the protocol creates an investment contract, and now you're making an investment of money relying on the efforts of others. So the idea here is you have to have a digital commodity without an issuer, and then you have to let it diffuse for a long enough period of time without any protocol, without any material change to the economics, such that it seasons. Right. And so Bitcoin has this 12, 13 year history. And the fact that the monetary protocol was set, the fact that that it traded without value from January 3rd, 2009 till pizza day, 500 years without value is an immaculate conception that has never been reproduced. The fact that Satoshi never moved a coin is another important fact. The fact that it is proof of work is a third important fact. The fact that during the block size wars, right, the small blockers won is another important fact. The fact that you got an unvarnished string of soft forks as opposed to hard forks, those are all important facts. And so you put them all together, you've got one thing that's universally acknowledged as a digital commodity, Bitcoin. It's the only thing that's ever been universally acknowledged. It's the only non-controversial decision. Now you've got a bunch of other things that are interesting. The world has a big thirst for digital currency in the form of a stable USD coin. Like the world wants a Tether or a Circle coin. In fact, the world probably wants $10 trillion of it. And the world's only got about 150 billion right now. So there is a demand for that, but then there's a big debate about who can issue it, a bank, a company, a set of entrepreneurs, right? Who? And that will continue. I think that with regard to regulatory clarity, I think the theory was pretty clear in 2010, actually. The theory was pretty clear in 2015. If you want to create a commodity, it must have energy and it must be without an issuer. Okay, so if I take gold or oranges or oil or a bushel of grain, and if I remove 99.95% of the energy, you have an imaginary orange, imaginary oil, you have a security. If you remove the energy from a commodity, you create a security. That's just common sense, right? And if a small group of programmers can write a piece of software that makes all of the oil in Asia not burn, or makes all of the oranges in Florida not edible, that's a security. That's not a commodity. So if you could double the density of gold by writing a piece of software code, it wouldn't be a commodity anymore. It would be a security, right? So this is kind of common sense. I mean, you don't even need the law. You just kind of need to think common sense. If 5 programmers get to make all your food not edible, is the food a commodity anymore? And the answer is no, it's a coupon or it's a security. So in this particular case, Gensler actually said when he was put in the SEC that staking tokens, if there's a stake and you generate yield, that's an investment contract. He said that a year ago. So I think he's become more forceful in his articulation in the aftermath of the crypto crash. And I think what he's saying is very straightforward. If you want to create a commodity, it has to be without an issuer. It has to flunk the Howey test. And if you've got an issuer, if you've got a small group of people, if they have control over the protocol, then it's probably a security for common sense reasons. I think that the regulators will move forward on this. There'll be some back and forth. There's going to be political debate. Most of the crypto industry has a vested interest in keeping ambiguity, right? Keeping this ambiguous, right? And so most of them, they'll say, well, we haven't gotten clear guidance. Well, there is clear guidance. You know, if you've got a company and you issue equity in the form of a token, it's a security. There's clear guidance, right? If you created a company and you gave yourself the stock and then you sold stock to investors and then you sold the general public and then you keep changing the code that controls what you can do with the stock, it's a security. So I think what Gensler said is just because you don't like the guidance doesn't mean you don't have it, right? To that point, I think that we're going to actually see the industry mature. I think it's getting harder and harder to feign ignorance and for people to be oblivious to these material differences. I think that there are some crypto organizations that are lobbying both sides of the fence, right? And I think that's frustrating. But I also think there are some Bitcoin only organizations that are doing a good job of articulating the ethical benefits of proof of work. I do support some of them, and other people that I know support some of them. And I would encourage anybody to support the Bitcoin only organizations because they don't have a conflict of interest.